Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Pada Padme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Moho Moho. Taking shelter at the feet of Sri Sharda Devi, the Universal Mother, and also Sri Ramakrishna, the world teacher, I salute them again and again. So continuing the theme of Holy Mother, but not to replace the series that Swami Vimokshananda was doing. We have a system whereby Jean selects a passage from Swami Chaitananda's book, Sri Sharda Devi and Her Divine Play. And so I'll ask Jean to read out what passage caught her eye and what her question might be.
Thank you, Swami Ji. Good evening, everybody. Well, normally I do it at random, as you told me to, Swami Ji, but this month, because it's October, I do think closely of Sister Nivedita and her birth and her death celebration. So with regards to Sister Nivedita, there's an extract here I will read from page 220 of the book that you mentioned. Begins, it was due to her acquaintance with Holy Mother that Nivedita developed an exalted opinion of Indian womanhood. One day, by the by, Sharat Maharaji said, after all, our women are ignorant and unlettered. Nivedita interrupted him immediately and forcefully contradicted him, saying, the women of India are by no means ignorant. In that country, referring to the United Kingdom, has one ever heard such words of wisdom from women as one does here? Moving on, we read, in 1900, when Nivedita went to America to collect funds for her school, Holy Mother dictated a letter to her that Sharadananda translated into English. Here is an excerpt from that letter. My dear, love to you, baby daughter Nivedita. I am so glad to learn you have prayed to the Lord for my eternal peace. You are a manifestation of the ever blissful Mother. I look at your photo, which was with me every now and then, and it seems as if you are present with me. I long for the day and the year when you shall return. May the prayers you have uttered for me from the heart of your pure virgin soul be answered. I am well and happy. I always pray to the Lord that he might help you in your noble efforts and keep you strong and happy. I pray too for your quick return. May he fulfill your desires about the women's home in India, and may that would-be home fulfill its mission in teaching true Dharma to all. He, the breath of the universe, is singing his own praise, and you are hearing that eternal song through things that will come to an end. The trees, the birds, the hills, and all are singing praises to the Lord. The banyan of Dakshinaswar sings of Kali, to be sure, and blessed is he who has ears to hear. My dear, love to you and blessings and prayers for your spiritual growth. You are doing excellent work indeed, but do not forget your Bengali, or else I will not be able to understand you when you come back. It gave me such a delight to learn that you are speaking of Dhruva, Shavriti, Sita, Rama, and so on there. The accounts of their holy lives are better than all the vain talk of the world, I am sure. Oh, how beautiful are the name and the doings of the Lord. Yours, Mother. Holy Mother bestowed her grace on Nivedita and remarked, her outside is white, meaning her skin, and her inside is white, meaning pure. Nivedita wrote about the Holy Mother. The Mother can read, and much of her time is passed with her Ramayana but she does not write. Yet It is not to be supposed that she is an uneducated woman. It must be remembered that as the wife of Sri Ramakrishna, she has had the highest opportunity of personal development that it is possible to enjoy. At every moment, she bears unconscious witness to this association with the great. But in nothing, perhaps, does it speak more loudly than in her instant power to penetrate a new religious feeling or idea. I first realized this gift in Holy Mother on the occasion of a visit that she paid us in recent years, on the afternoon of a certain Easter day. Before that, probably, I had always been too much absorbed when with her in striving to learn what she represented, to think of observing her in the contrary position. On this particular occasion, however, after going over our whole house, the mother and her party expressed a desire to rest in the chapel and hear something of the meaning of Christian festival. This was followed by Easter music and singing with our small French organ. And in the swiftness of her comprehension and the depth of her sympathy with these resurrection hymns, unimpeded by any foreignness or unfamiliarity in them, we saw revealed for the first time one of the most impressive aspects of the great religious culture of Sharada Devi. The same power is seen to a certain extent in all the women about her who were touched by the hand of Sri Ramakrishna. But in her, it has all the strength and certainty of some high and arduous form of scholarship. The same trait came out again one evening when, in the midst of her little circle, Holy Mother asked Christine and myself to describe to her a European wedding. With much fun and laughter, personating now the Christian Brahmin and again the bride and bridegroom, we complied. But we were neither of us prepared for the effect of the marriage vow. For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death us do part, were words that drew exclamations of delight from all about us, but none appreciated them as did the mother. Again and again she repeated to her, oh, the dharmi words, the righteous words. To move on, when Sister Nivedita died in Darjeeling on the 13th of October, 1911, just a few days from now, Holy Mother shed tears and said, what sincere devotion Nivedita had. She never considered anything too much that she might do for me. She often came to me at night. Seeing that the light struck my eyes, she put a shade of paper around the lamp. She would prostrate herself before me with great tenderness and take the dust of my feet with her handkerchief. I felt that she hesitated even to touch my feet. As the women devotees expressed their sorrow at Nivedita's death, Holy Mother said, all creatures weep for great soul. I shall finish with words from the Holy Mother herself in relation to Nivedita. Look at Nivedita, a Western girl who came to our country and worked happily, forbearing insults and harassment and also enduring so much discomfort. She tried to educate our children. When she visited some homes to register their children for her school, she was humiliated. Some did not allow her to go inside their homes, and some allowed her to go inside, but later purified the place by sprinkling Ganges water. She saw everything, but did not mind. She left each place with a smiling face. There was no bounden necessity for her to educate the girls of our country by enduring such insult and such ill treatment and ruining her life little by little. You see, my daughter Nivedita had such a wonderful mind that she took on the responsibility of teaching our girls on her own shoulders because her guru Naran wanted it and asked her to do it. She did not care for physical suffering and discomfort, or for the insults and incivility of our people. Those for whom she dedicated her life, they treated her contemptuously. Under such circumstances, could the women of our country sacrifice to such a great extent for the sake of their guru? They would say, we don't care. So I say that except for the master, no one knows or understands how, when, what, or through whom he makes one work. That is the end of the reading. And Swami, my questions were would you please discuss the extent of Holy Mother's influence, not just on Nivedita, but also in Vivekananda in relation to him going to the West as well, and significant others, and the importance of this to the spread of Sri Ramakrishna's message in a global context? Thank you.
Well, first of all, what you have read is a rich fabric of information. Firstly, we can see how Sister Nivedita viewed Holy Mother, and that's how she viewed her. She viewed her as the Holy Mother, calling her Mata Devi. So we can see that from the very start, Nivedita has an understanding of the divinity of the Holy Mother. And that didn't stop or didn't prevent her from being intimate with the Mother, but the intimacy was only as a response. It was the Holy Mother that initiated the intimacy, calling her Kuki from the very start. When she was introduced, this is, and the full name, Margaret Elizabeth Noble, she remarked, oh, yes, I can't really say such a long thing. I'll just simply call her Kuki, my child. And that motherly sentiment went through. So whenever they're interacting, we see Nivedita viewing her as her own mother and Holy Mother viewing her as her own daughter. This gives a wonderful breadth, because I think originally your question was also in connection with a question, not a question, but it's really a statement phrased as a question. Was this Holy Mother the end of an old order or the beginning of a new one? And what she meant by that was that this pristine purity, this devotional nature, this inherent wisdom that Indian women have, and she had to chastise Swami Sharananda for that, this inner wisdom that is there from generation to generation is the old style. However, Sister Nivedita also loved the Holy Mother's mother. She said, oh, grandmother, let me come to your house and cook for you, cook food in your kitchen. And the older lady was very shocked by this. She said, no, they'll ostracize me. So that also is the old school. The old school is the traditions, the restrictions, the orthodoxy, those kinds of things. That's on the one hand. Holy Mother had none of these. The idea of being ostracized, she mentions being ostracized, So that wouldn't have gone well. But the Holy Mother had no such objection whatsoever, even though the Holy Mother herself was practical. So broad-minded was she. So when Sister Nivedita asks this question, it's a rhetorical question. Is this the end of the old order or the beginning of the new? These are some of the things that she is referring to. But what is the new order, you see? And the acknowledgement how Sister Nivedita, in the passage that you read out, Jean, was attribute to how it gives, first of all, it gives some information about Sister Nivedita herself and her self-sacrificing aspect and her saintliness. White on the outside, referring to her skin color, but white on the inside also, see, representing purity. So the Holy Mother would have, the Sister Nivedita would have viewed the Holy Mother and very much as her master, Swami Vivekananda, would also have done it. In visiting the Holy Mother, Swami Vivekananda had drunk from the river Ganga, the muddy water of the Ganga. He was told, no, that'll make you ill. Why are you doing this? Because I'm about to visit the Holy Mother and I feel that I'm not pure enough. I fear that my sins will pass on to the Mother, the effects of my sins, that kind of approach. So there's a curious mixture here, a wonderful mixture. There's the opportunity of standing in awe before what is acknowledged as a divine presence, divine Mother of the entire universe. And this is put in so many different ways, even in letters written by Sister Nivedita. And then you'll see how the Holy Mother responds in a letter also, that you are a manifestation, in other words, of the Divine Mother yourself, as all women are, and supporting her work. From about certainly 1912, from about 1988, we can say, or 1888, I should say, up to her demise in 1920. See, we don't know that much, except that it was a whole period of active spiritual ministry. In other words, we sometimes forget that the first person being instructed by the Master, the first devotee of the Master, was the Holy Mother herself. And she was given this role of carrying on the spiritual ministry. Not Swami Vivekananda, not anybody else, but the Holy Mother herself. The Master had commanded her to carry on the work he had started. I'm reading from Holy Mother's life from Swami Tapasyananda. The Master had commanded her to carry on the work he had started. Speaking on the point, she said, I have received all these mantras that she was giving from the Master himself. Through these, one is sure to achieve perfection. In his last days at Kashipur, Sri Ramakrishna had said to her feelingly, well, won't you do something? Am I to do it all? And to this the Holy Mother replied, I am but a woman. What can I do? But the Master replied, no, you have much to do. The Master's vision in this respect was prophetic. She was his partner in life and in ideals, and he left her in this world to continue and add momentum to the work of spiritual regeneration of man that he had started. And she acknowledges this in her letter to say, you're doing the work of dharma, and may you be successful in this work. Fully supporting in her school, in her activities, but not just as a patron or a patroness, but actually as a mother, above all as a mother. So the Master's vision was prophetic because she was his partner in life and in ideals. And he left her in this world to continue and add momentum to the work of spiritual regeneration of man he had started. Her spiritual ministry had begun, in a way, even during the lifetime of the Master. Many of the women who flocked to the Master gathered around her and felt inspired by her. We have to understand that Yogan, who became Swami Yogananda, had not been given formal mantra diksha. And he said, I never gave Yogan a mantra, and gave the mantra, and she had to deliver it. And it matched the mantra that he himself got in a vision as well. Many of the women who flocked to the Master gathered around her, felt inspired by her. It's known that the Master himself asked this would-be sannyasin disciple who became Swami Trigunatita to take initiation from her. Of course, it's doubtful whether this actually took place, but Swami Trigunatita was one of her earliest caretakers, one of her earliest attendants. The work when he went to America was taken over by Yogan. Yogan was always there and initiated, as I say, by her at Vrindavan. And it was all according to the instruction given to her. So we have to acknowledge what was the purport of the question is, what was the impact of the work, of the master's work? And when we say the master's work, we mean East and West. We can see how even her picture is adopted. I was speaking to somebody today, by the way, and we were looking for some kind of focus for their meditation. And I had recommended that he have a picture of the Holy Mother, knowing that he knew nothing about her life or about her extraordinariness or about her divinity. And he looked at the picture and he said, yeah, that seems to be something like Mother Mary would have looked. She would have looked like that. Don't forget, Mary was a teenager, basically, or in her teens, certainly a young woman anyway, when she had Jesus. And she would have been a typical Eastern woman, or Middle Eastern woman at least. Dark hair, darkish skin, brown eyes, that kind of thing. So I remember painting a portrait of her once and giving it to a Christian. And she said, "Who is this?" I said, "Mother Mary," as she might have looked. And she said, she was taken aback. She said, "Oh, that seems so beautiful." So just the picture of the Holy Mother alone has its influence. But every movement of the early order was really stemming from Holy Mother. And nobody did anything without her approval, including Swami Vivekananda jumping across the ocean. He sought her permission first, and therefore it is very important that for him to carry out his work through Sister Nivedita, that the two be introduced. And what was the expectation? The normal expectation would certainly be that here was somebody who convention says I cannot sit down with or talk to. But what was his delight that not only did they get on well together in a conventional sense, but they also had a special relationship that developed to the extent that any small thing given to Holy Mother, she treasured absolutely dearly, that it was from her. And here in a tribute to Sister Nivedita, we see what Holy Mother registers. We learn so much about Sister Nivedita actually through the Holy Mother herself. It's quite remarkable. Even how she was turned away from door to door, how people washed the floor after she had visited with Ganga water, that kind of thing. But what's revealed is the intimacy of the two. And through that, we can see the remarkable outlook that the Holy Mother had. And certainly a playing part, an active part in the ongoing work. Now, not just the ongoing work, but if we take this divinity seriously, she is the Shakti behind the whole movement. She is the driving mother of the universe behind all the unfoldment of it. And so we can take it in that way as well. I think it's worthwhile reading earlier than the passage that you started off with, Jean. Maybe you want to go back, actually, to the beginning of that, but I'll read something out before you do that. I'll pick it up and explain the background to it. With great emotion, Swamiji, the Swami Vivekananda, said, Mother, I want to spread the Master's message and establish a worthy and enduring organization for that purpose as soon as possible. But I feel distressed that I cannot do things as speedily as I wish. The Holy Mother herself, in a soft voice, with maternal affection, see, you can picture it and feel it. Don't worry about that. What you have done and what you will do will endure forever. We are born for this work, for this mission. Thousands will look upon you as the enlightened teacher of the world. Rest assured that the Master will very soon fulfill your desire. You will before long find that your ideas are taking practical shape. What a beautiful sentiment. Giving a person who is doubting a little bit, even the great Swami Vivekananda, putting forth his intention, his grand vision, and recognizing it as the Master's work. She has no doubt about the success of it, and every vestige of faith in him, giving him confidence. But he's asking her permission. With prayerful reverence, Swamiji said to the mother, "Bless me, Mother, that I may see my plan of work materialize as quickly as possible." And with these words, Swamiji took leave of Holy Mother and reverently prostrated before her again. The text goes on to say, Vivekananda was reassured and deeply moved by Holy Mother's blessings. In the course of this meeting, he said to her, "Mother, I did not clear the ocean this time in one jump. I went to America in a boat built by Westerners. I discovered there the great glories of our Master. Many good people listened to me spellbound about Sri Ramakrishna and accepted his ideas." I may even remark, when he went to England, he saw a different side of the British people that had colonized his country. So at Pashupati Basu's house on 20th February 1897, Swamiji said to M, "Master Mahashi, whatever success you see in my life is the play, the Leela of the Master. I am only an instrument. He sent me there. When the Master indicated that I should go to the West, I informed the Mother and asked for her permission and command. By the blessings of the Mother, I easily overcame all difficulties there and became the most prominent figure amongst the many famous learned pundits and scientists." So let's review that again in answer to your question. By the blessings of the Mother, he's saying, I easily overcame all difficulties. There's no difference in his mind between the Mother Sharada Devi, described as Holy Mother, and the Mother of the whole universe, and the Mother Kali. So it is worth going back a little bit to understand a little bit more under the chapter of Nivedita. But again, coming to Swamiji, just carrying on that theme, when he made pranams to Mother, Swamiji did not touch her feet, as is often customary. And when he stood up after prostrating to her, he turned to all of us who were standing behind and said in a soft voice, "Go and prostrate before the Mother, but don't touch her feet. She is so gracious, so tender and affectionate that when one touches her feet, she then readily draws unto and takes upon herself all the misery and sufferings of the hapless soul. Out of her infinite grace and unbounded love and compassion for one and all, thereby she has to suffer herself silently for others' sake. Go slowly, one by one, and prostrate before her. Pray to her and ask for her blessing from the bottom of your heart, with all sincerity, but without verbal expression. She is ever in a superconscious state and understands everybody's mind. Not just intelligent, not just modern, but understands everybody's mind. It is in this way that she was able to give initiation to so many without any pre-preparation in the most unusual ways. Giving, diksha over maybe 2 or 3 minutes, that's all, with no special preparation other than she generally did it after her worship of the Master. But sometimes on a railway station, sometimes even as an old school friend, while lying on a bed, and so on. All of these unusual ways. And took on so many. She was criticized in a sense. See how selective the master was, and see how beautiful the master's disciples are. They're all quality people, each and every one. Yes, but I'm not the master, she said. I'm the mother. And so I'll take as many as I like because they're all my children, was her purport. Her understanding was like that. They're all my children. And whatever they don't do, I'll have to do. Even 2:30 in the morning, let me do it. So having been directed like this, as directed by the Swamiji, all of us, one by one, silently prostrated ourselves before the Master. And the Swami Vivekananda quietly stood in the corner of the veranda. When we all have finished offering pranams to Mother, Gulab Ma broke the silence and addressed Swamiji on behalf of the mother, saying in a most affectionate tone, Mother is eager to know how you have been keeping at Darjeeling. Is there much improvement? And so it goes on. And yes, I was better so inquiring about people's health and so on. In the beginning of this chapter, Ramakrishna may have cast off his body, but his spirit began to flow in the veins of humanity. Swami Vivekananda, affectionately called Swamiji, carried the master's ideal of a universal religion to both West and East. And on 20th February 1897, 3.5 years after his highly acclaimed achievement at the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, he returns to Kolkata, and he is totally exhausted from his constant lecturing, but he managed to leave Swami Abhedananda there. And so on 8th of March, following his doctor's advice, he goes to Darjeeling to rest and recover his health. And the incident I spoke of is after this. Holy Mother learned many things about Christ also, and recalls the wonderful sacrificial aspect that Jesus had, not complaining, not criticizing, not combating any of the people who hung him across and tortured him, forgiving everybody. And this kind of sums up the mother's own nature, how she would willingly, as Swami Vivekananda had said, take on all the deleterious effects of people's bad behavior. Everything was blessed by the mother. On 12th November 1898, it was the day before Kali Puja, and the Holy Mother, accompanied by several women, again visited the site where the Ramakrishna order was shortly to have its headquarters. So in answer to your question, at every point, at every turn, it is the Holy Mother as head de facto of the order who is working on behalf of the Master as per his instruction, and revered in this way. Durga Puja, Swami Vivekananda says, let there be the living mother there. So the living mother attended the Durga Puja on at least 2 occasions, and everybody was delighted to feel the living presence of the Divine Mother of the Universe herself. So on the opening of Belo Mat, many people were invited, including people from Western disciples, and all the monks were present. Elaborate arrangements had been made for worship. Picture of the Master that had been worshipped in the old monastery was installed in the new site, and the Holy Mother brought her own picture of the Master, and she blessed the temple site with a special puja. And that afternoon, Holy Mother returned to Calcutta with her party, along with the Vivekananda, Brahmananda, Sharananda. Swamiji had requested them all to partake in the ceremonial opening of Sister Nivedita's girls' school at 16 Bospara Lane. And Holy Mother and her companions attended the opening the next morning on the day of the Kali Puja, a double sacred opening taking place in a sense. Once Swamiji was carried away by a Vedantic experience when he related to Holy Mother, Mother, nowadays everything is disappearing from my mind. And Holy Mother said to him with a smile, my son, please don't make me vanish. And here you see the Holy Mothers, oh, you are the Mother Kali, was another thing, you see, says Sister Nivedita. And she says, oh, but don't make my tongue hang out like that kind of thing, that kind of sense of humor. Says, no. And then they had to rephrase a little bit to understand. So, Mother, if I make you disappear, Swami Vivekananda replies, quipping, where shall I stand? The knowledge that banishes the Guru is ignorance. How can knowledge exist without the Guru? Swamiji realized that Ramakrishna and Holy Mother were one and the same. He also pointed this out to his brother disciples. Swami Vijnananda, whom Swamiji called Peshan, had great love and respect for Holy Mother, but he seldom visited her in Calcutta. One day he went with the Swamiji to Balaram's house in Calcutta, where Holy Mother was there. And Swamiji asked Peshan, did you salute Holy Mother? No, Swamiji, I did not. What? Go right now and bow down to the Mother, said Swamiji. And accordingly, he went to Holy Mother and bowed down to her from a distance, bending his head to the floor. As soon as he got up, he heard Swamiji, who was standing behind him, say, what is this? Does anybody salute the Mother in this way? Bow down to her by prostrating yourself on the floor. Holy Mother is the Mother of the universe. It's a bold statement up front by Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji himself then prostrated himself to Holy Mother, and Vijnananda did likewise. But later Vijnananda remarked, I did not imagine that Swamiji would follow me to the Mother. Ramakrishna had told Holy Mother that his disciples would look after her. Holy Mother cared for them as her own children. Swamiji arranged for Holy Mother to be given some 25 rupees per month for her expenses. But in June 20th, 1899, Swamiji had left again for the West for the second time, taking that voyage. Much of what we know about Swami Vivekananda was compiled by Sister Nivedita on that voyage. And Holy Mother arranged a feast for him that day. And after having lunch at Holy Mother's place, Swamiji, Duryananda, Nivedita, they left for the Kolkata harbor. And other disciples also went to see them off. When Swami Vivekananda returned a year and a half later, he visited Holy Mother and various others, and was amazed when she saw a handsome prince-like man fall at the Mother's feet. Sometime later, Swamiji was not well, so Holy Mother went to see him at Belomat. Knowing that he was the crest of the Master, on his demise, she was sadly sore. Oh, why did he leave us so early? Had he remained, he would have been harassed by the British. She knew that much. And she also knew what the Master had said, that there were two bad omens, portents, in terms of Swami Vivekananda. The one was his breathlessness, and the other was that he ate a little more than others, unusually so, and that these would be signs of a short life anyway. But when Sister Nivedita passed away, the Mother was extremely heart-sore. She wept. And there she gives a wonderful tribute, worth reading again and again and again. If we want to understand Sister Nivedita, we just read those words that the Mother had put out and understand the nobility, the sainthood of Sister Nivedita. No question about that. Her nobility, her purity, her dedication, and the fact that she was an extension of Swami Vivekananda himself, and we should try to recognize her in this way. So I got carried away a little bit, so I don't know if I answered your question at all. Just let me know if there's some outstanding issue to do with your question.
Yes, Swamiji, thank you. You answered it beautifully.
Okay. You see, the impact was so much. How could it not be? See, but the giving initiation to devotees was the most remarkable thing, and she was not very discerning in it, and she was prepared to look after every single one of them, even though she knew many of them would not practice a single thing about it. In the ocean of her universal love, and relative statures of individual seekers had no meaning as far as their fitness to receive her blessings was concerned. That's a remarkable thing. Consequently, the number of her disciples increased, and many of them were not of any high standard of excellence. And referring to this, her companion Yogin Ma once said, "Look at the master's disciples." This is what I was talking about earlier. Each one of them is a spiritual giant. And look at your disciples, mother. And to this, the mother replied, "Is it to be wondered at? He picked up the best type, and with what care he selected them. And towards me he has pushed all the small fry coming in their hundreds like ants. Don't compare his disciples with mine." Further, she spoke to one disciple about the significance of her initiation. "Whatever I have to give, I give at the time of initiation. And if you want peace of mind, or if you want peace immediately, practice the spiritual disciplines described. Otherwise, you will achieve it only after the fall of the body." That she was giving initiation, sometimes even to boys of 10 and 12, who might not even remember the mantra, and that the number of these was so many that she hardly remembered them. And her reply was like this: "My child, the master never forbade me to do so. He instructed me on many matters. Could he not have told me something about this as well? I give the responsibility of my disciples to the master. Every day I pray to him, saying, please look after these disciples, wherever they may be. And further, I receive these mantras from the master himself. Through them, one is sure to achieve perfection."
Swamiji, may I ask, why was Thakur so choosy and picky then?
You see, his mission was a little different. So you see, there are two, not different missions, but two aspects of the same mission, which were different. So the master's selectivity is there. Same with all incarnations, by the way. So Jesus himself selected only 12, well, 13 actually. And Swami, so Sri Ramakrishna selected the very best of the boys. In other words, he's structuring a foundation. But the mother is the mother. Above all else, she's the mother, superseding even the position of guru. So that whenever anybody said mother or came to her, her motherly love had to respond. So you see how Swami Vivekananda was sensitive about that. See, I'll drink this muddy Ganga water because, the water is sacred. I want to purify myself because I feel I don't want to pass my sinfulness onto the mother. She'll take it willingly. The effects of all my bad karma, she will take it. See? You see, in the 19th century, if a Western lady went into a rural setting and entered into a house, etc., and this was the local people were of the old style and would not really, and the person whose house it would be in would ostracize that person. That's the point. So that's the meaning of it. Charles, Shao. I don't know if it's Charles or Shao. I'll say Shao. So that's the meaning of it. But it was all in the context of the Holy Mother is at the end of an old order or the beginning of a new. And what did he mean? She mean by old order? What did she mean by new order? But the Holy Mother was a mother and was modern and also had divine insight. And in Sister Nivedita's words, one long prayerful silence, see, always steeped in the superconscious. We find so much about Holy Mother from Sister Nivedita, and we find so much about Holy Mother from Swami Vivekananda, from these two people, and to understand her worth from there. Okay, all right, so we'll finish off there. Om Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace be unto all.